Now, Sarah Henderson is a member of the Federal Parliament, and she is a senator who is absolutely committed to accountability when it comes to taxpayer television, taxpayer radio, taxpayer internet, because, of course, you may remember that there was a small period of time when she worked for such organisations, and as we've seen in the past little while, we've seen this absurdity where there are people who build their profile off the public broadcaster in order to get to 10, 20, 30, 150,000 Twitter followers, and then mouth off as if they were a viewer of taxpayer television rather than a participant. You can't have it both ways, can you?
Well, Paul, good evening. Great to join you. And no, you can't. And I am really concerned about the decline in journalistic standards that we are seeing on social media from ABC employees. And there's been some pretty telling examples of that in recent months. Yeah,
I mean, you know, I think it's pretty obvious where a lot of these people come from, but this idea that they think that they've got some sort of, you know, Avengers-like superpower of objectivity that means they can only see things in their truest sense, when we all know they're human beings. And certainly when they're human beings, and the media now more so in 2021 than ever before, feels like participant rather than observer. I've got the guts to say that I am an opinion guy, but there are people like Laura Tingle that want to sit there and pretend to far bigger audiences, that they're just the umpire in the middle. Yet, as we know, she deleted a tweet saying, "What a legend, watch this. It's what us mere journalistic mortals aspire to have covered in our careers. And we grieve the loss of so many of our fine colleagues to government ideological bastardry. Hope you're feeling smug, Prime Minister." The only issue for her was she deleted the post. Nothing happened. She gets to continually, she'll comment on your career, the Prime Minister's career. She will do everything she can to try and put lead in the saddlebags of the government because she doesn't agree with that side of politics. Yet she sits in one of the most privileged positions anyone could comment in.
Well, absolutely, Paul. And the point that I made, and it was published in the Sydney Morning Herald and the Age this morning, was that there is a very different standard which applies to that when I worked at the ABC quite a long time ago. Any sort of commentary like that should go through the normal editorial clearance and approval processes. And there is a very loose social media policy by the ABC, which means that really, unless you bring the ABC into disrepute, now what does that mean? Yeah. Unless you damage the ABC's reputation for independence and impartiality, well, you know, that's arguable that it has a particularly high reputation in that respect anyway, then, of course, you can basically publish on your own personal social media account whatever you like. And it's a very different standard to that set by the BBC, which provides, for instance, that no journalist can post anything about politics, about policy, or about any contentious matter. So I really do believe that the ABC must dramatically lift its standards.
But what is particularly frustrating, all right, for people watching us right now is at a time when in commercial media, hundreds, I think even thousands of people lost their jobs, all right, never to come again. People still to this day have their wages cut, yet in taxpayer media, they got a pay rise last year while simultaneously moaning that the amount of money that the government gives them somehow has gone backwards, even though it is exactly the same amount of money as the year before, the year before, the year before, while they simultaneously want all of the credit of being, as I say, the independent umpire while wanting to be the full-time participant. I mean, talk about having every possible option, and, you know, it's not some sort of bygone era. It's actually strengthens the organisation not to be mouthing off about the people of which you report upon.
Well, David Anderson, the managing director, told Estimates last week that he was concerned about ABC reporters' civil liberties, and therefore he didn't want to constrain them on their social media accounts. Well, that's rubbish. If you're working for the ABC, besides matters to do with your family or your grandmother's birthday or, you know, the sunshine in the park or just incidental matters, the same standard should apply on your personal social media account as it does in every other part of your work at the ABC. It's like me arguing, Paul, that if I put out a late night post in my own name, then I'm not accountable as a senator. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's like a CEO of a company arguing, oh, but I put that out in my own name and therefore it doesn't concern the company that I run. So it's a nonsensical distinction. And as I say, even the BBC has much tougher standards. The ABC really does need to look at this. But it's not just about the conduct of journalists. There are other big issues with the ABC's management of social media. It's still allowing hundreds and hundreds of vile and defamatory comments whenever it puts anything up on Twitter, for instance. And there is even an argument, frankly, that under the current law, it is being challenged in the High Court, that the ABC is liable for the posts of people who comment on their various social media accounts. But it doesn't seem to matter to the ABC. They just allow all of this bile to be published. I've taken this up a number of times with the ABC, and they continue to do it. And it's frankly completely unacceptable.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm glad that you're in the Parliament. I'm glad you take up this fight for us. Thank you, Sarah. I do appreciate it.
Yeah, great to talk to you, Paul.